And we are live another Friday night, another Friday Gauntlet night. Let's go. What's happening? It is your boy Denzel Snipes. And right next to me is the pundit himself, our guest, Jacob Christner. Right below is JJ Ravens aficionado. JJ Jenkins, what's going on, fellas? How you living?
What's up, man? What's up?
What is going on tonight?
All right, excellent.
I got my two friends, Amsterdam and Pineapple, and we just chilling.
Oh, Amsterdam and Pineapple. Huh.
I got water.
See you back. It's looks like you're let's see here. Yeah, what's good? Bacon Grizz. Shout out to JT. Yeah. Pretty much. But JJ, have you found a drink you've settled upon, or are you still kind of, trying to searching out there?
I mean, I'm a frozen margarita guy. If there's a drink that I will always get no matter where I am, I'm a frozen margarita guy. That's my drink. I don't really have a set drink outside of that.
Okay then. Okay. Well, we know Jacob doesn't drink, so it's pretty much water and an apple, probably.
Pretty much. But I feel good and I sleep well.
hey, that's always good. Well, it is time for our first segment, of course, and that is the all famous Sports Moron of the Week. Run the video clip.
Are you serious? Give me.
It's the John.
Shout out to our awesome producer behind the scenes, Tariq, that boy Tariq, doing an awesome job for us on Sideline Sports. Shout out to Kirk Chavez for the inspiration for that video. And shout out to John Shear for looking like he was about to come through the screen and choke somebody during that video clip. And, of course, there were the 10,000 faces of
course,
JT.
he doesn't have the strength to bruise anybody.
Yeah, pretty much. But for those of y'all who are brand new to Sports Moron of the Week, this is where, anyone on the panel takes any egregious take or act or anything in sports in that week and talk about it on the air. So let's go ahead and get it started. Jacob, who you got? Sports Moron of the Week.
Any and everybody that keeps starting these kids straight from the draft. Anthony Richardson's got the job. He looked like crap. It's seriously time to stop this. Did they not see? Have they not? Are they continuously following the very rare deal of a Lamar Jackson? And did they not see the beauty of letting Patrick Mahomes sit for a year? The beauty, and so that. Let me say this. Anthony Richardson looked like garbage. He looked like it there. He's going to continue to, because you are looking at the possibilities of his athletic ability. You're looking at that part. It is what you're looking at is a ton of mistakes in the middle of it. It's all got to be just like the crossovers and everything from James Harden. We know what's happening there. Everything has got to be what looks flashy on YouTube. And you're not going to win with this. And guess what? You wanted something with personality. You want all this. Gardner Minshew's got personality. They keep calling him Uncle Rico for a reason. And we're going to ruin these kids. I talked about this with one of our with Robert, Robert the other day from the magazine, Scriber Magazine. I said this, they're going to keep ruining these kids by doing this over and over and over again. And then don't forget, we've been talked about with Will Levis and him tearing himself up and all that muscle on him.
Yeah.
I bet you anything they were going to give him a shot too before he got injured. I bet you anything. It's just, the front offices are too skittish. It's like, go for the win. Go for the winning. Go for a bit of long term because you just keep ruining these kids, and this has got to stop.
Yeah. And he's been my sports moron for on more than one occasion. And I mean, is it me or is Jim Irsay inching closer and closer to what Jerry Jones is? I think he's still far and away, but
He's Jerry Jones with cocaine.
pretty much, pretty much. Hey, you said it. I didn't, but I definitely was thinking.
And I'll say it, and I'll admit I said it.
And let's see.
Hold on. I want to say something real fast.
Go ahead.
I want to say about something to Philly Jim right here. They're saying George Pickens has more talent. You don't. This is the deal. Jefferson's got a lot, but you don't know what Pickens has because he's got an idiot for an OC. He's got an idiot for an offensive coordinator. Someone who's going to get him 4 balls a game. You don't know what George Pickens has. Get him someone like Kyle Shanahan. Get him someone like Kellen Moore. Get him someone with a mind, and we'll see. Until then, Matt Canada isn't it. Matt Canada will help no one, and that's what I'm saying. We don't know if Pickens is or not, and that's all we're saying.
But why would you be surprised that a Steeler said a Steeler was great and better than somebody else? I don't get it. I don't understand this whole issue and thinking that Ryan Clark, it's his opinion. That's all it is. So why are you surprised? Of course he's going to say that. If anybody knows RC always anoints the Steelers, literally. And that's what he feels. We don't know this. I mean, at the end of the day, we haven't seen the best of George Pickens, as Jacob alluded to. But I don't see why this becomes something that's like moronic. The moron is the person that decided to make the comment that he should be a moron. Yeah.
With that said, JJ, who's your sports moron?
I actually don't have one, but y'all can go ahead.
Okay.
This is coming from a guy like Philly about bias? Yeah. So this is coming from a Philly guy?
You know what? Just so everyone knows, Philly Jim will be returning next week to the show. And Jacob, if you are available, I mean, if you are available.
If there's a possibility I'm available, you darn well not make it.
I think, hey, JT, I think you're going to be running back into something here next week. But we'll go ahead and we'll move on from Sports Moron.
What's your moron, dude?
I didn't have one. I was just piggybacking off of yours because Irsay, he's pretty much my sports moron every week. So let's go ahead and go on to our next topic, and that is the unfortunate passing of Alex Collins at the age of 28. To those of you all who did not know who Alex Collins was, he was a 5th round pick out of Arkansas. In 2016, he played for the Seattle Seahawks, the Baltimore Ravens. He had another run with the Seattle Seahawks, and then he most recently played for the USFL's Memphis Showboats in 2023. His career NFL stats, he had 1,997 rushing yards, 18 rushing touchdowns, a pretty decent receiving back also, 59 receptions, 467, and 1 touchdown. Unfortunately, he didn't play that long. In college, he actually had outstanding numbers. He rushed for over 1,000 yards all 3 years as a freshman, sophomore, and a junior out of the Arkansas Razorbacks. They always have been a run-heavy team for as long as I can remember. On the night of he was in a traffic collision in Lauder Lakes, Florida on the evening of August the 13th. He was riding a motorcycle, crashed into the rear passenger side of an SUV at high speed. It was said that he died at the scene, but you know, the sports world lost a pretty good athlete and even better human being. And since he played for your Ravens, JJ, just want to have you start off and your thoughts on Alex Collins.
I mean, he was a serviceable back. He had some good moments. We didn't necessarily capitalize on everything, but he had some good moments. I just don't like bicycles. I really don't. And another incident or another situation, a tragic situation because of an incident. He was 28. We're all older than him. And I where he was 28. I would have to look the quote up again, but there was a quote that I was in a meeting at my job that the market director said he loved, but it was scary at the same time. It was something along the lines of, as soon as you're born, you're working to die, because basically your time
starts. That's true.
Yep.
Time is working against you the moment you're born, and we don't know what we could pass. And it's like, it's just, just don't like bikes. Just don't like bikes. And my prayers go out to his family. Like, I can only imagine.
I mean, and just so everybody knows out there, because we all, one of the most dangerous things that you can do is get inside of your car. But it's not emphasized enough about motorcycles. Please exercise that motorcycle safety. Having been around bikers before, everyone will tell you it's not a matter of if you'll drop your bike, but when. Like it's pretty much it's going to happen. You just got to hope that it's not to the effect of this. But please exercise that motorcycle safety. Wear your reflective gear at night. It was always harped up on us in the back in the military. Wear your reflective gear during the hours of darkness. Wear a helmet. Protect yourself at all times while on it, because motorcycles can be just as dangerous as cars. But I want to swing it over to Jacob Christner and give your thoughts about Alex Collins.
Well, you think about Alex Collins, and he's at 1,997 career yards with 18 TDs, which means he had a bunch of 1-yard touchdowns. Right down the middle. Mm-hmm. And that's what that means. It's like because normally you'd have 3,000-4,000 yards with that kind of touchdown, but he was the red zone back.
Yeah. And
so you look at the scene. You know what that is? That's really not there anymore, because. Remember this. Who was the Georgia? Who was the Todd Gurley? Todd Gurley had 9 touchdowns in his. Todd Gurley had 9 touchdowns in his final season, and they let him go anyway. He's out of the NFL anyway. With his knee, because all he was that Alex Collins guy, which you could just score touchdowns, and it wasn't that way. So he had himself a role you do not see anymore. And I was going to ask you this: did he have his helmet off when he died?
That is a no. More to come on that one. All that was said was he was pronounced dead at the scene, and it was later reported he likely died instantly. So he hit this vehicle at a high rate of speed.
Something. The thing about it with bikes is there's a thing about athletes. Is when it's all over, you got to remember he was at the down end of his career if he was over in the USFL. Mm-hmm. He was at the down end, not playing in front of a lot of people. You want to know the biggest thing is this happens with wrestlers. This happens with anybody that's had some kind of thrill on 80, 90,000 people, 60,000 or whatever, and then it went down like that. They're looking for that thrill they always had since they were kids. You got to remember, at high school they had those big crowds, in college they had the big crowds.
Right.
In everything. Then it's on the downside of the career. He's heading to 30. He's going at a high rate of speed on a bike, and we don't know if he had a helmet or not. There's that thrill. Wrestlers do it too. Athletes, old fighters do it. They all look for that adrenaline thrill. It's why they get into drugs. Mm-hmm. And it's all that stuff. There's an adrenaline thrill, and it's an unfortunate thing because they've had nothing but that adrenaline all their life.
What was it, Jay Williams of the Bulls, that after his rookie season he got into that bike wreck that seriously debilitated him and ruined his career? How many injuries did he sustain off that one crash?
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. But go ahead, JJ.
I would say Jay was almost paralyzed.
Yeah,
he was almost paralyzed.
No, and that's the thing. That is the thing, though, is like there's just an adrenaline rush in these athletes because it's all they've known. And that's why they do the drugs, and that's why they do the adrenaline shot and everything like that, because we can think of Ric Flair. His adrenaline shot's not necessarily speed. His is just drinking and the partying. He can't be alone.
Pretty much.
He doesn't want to be alone. And it's like those are things that happen with people, and it's like there's a mental thing to it, and it's like there's a mental thing to something like that, and it's not like you can't say, oh, I'm not going to, go get a therapist. They do talk to therapists. It doesn't seem to help.
Yeah. Yeah, especially whenever it's something that is all they know. But
The
you know,
thing about the going to the sorry to cut you off, but the thing about going to a therapist is we don't exactly know how open they are with the therapist. You can go to a therapist all day long, but if you don't feel like opening up, you're never going to solve anything. Like, so it's like when they say that, it's like it's not just seeing that they're going to a therapist. Are they actually talking through what's bothering them?
that's true. Cause you know we
Yeah.
like to say all the time, like, yeah, you need therapy, you need to go to therapy. But what we need to start doing is telling people you need to go to therapy and you need to actually talk to them. Don't just show up just to check a
But
box.
you know why but you know what it is, and that in this point, it's always, and I know for a fact because if it's so evident in everyday people, I can only imagine if it's evident in actual football players. To actually work through something, you got to be vulnerable. And to be vulnerable is you got to have no pride.
Is that yeah?
And I don't know if many of these guys can really, like, after all that they have worked, accomplished, and got to a point, breaking your pride is not easy. And when you try to break your pride fights back harder. And so it's like you have to really say, F it. I'm hurting. This is why.
Yeah. Even if it
Yeah.
means saving your own life. You know, coming from a
Big thing,
game, a dangerous game where,
big thing too.
mhm, yeah, you know, you fight through
Big
injuries to
thing
play the game.
also.
You know,
How many of these athletes also probably just talk to mom? Everything that they know, and mom could be gone or mom is still here, and they're not going to tell strangers what they would tell mom.
yep, yeah, absolutely. But we do have to move on to our thoughts and prayers with the Collins family. Moving on to our next topic, and that is surrounding Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe and this supposed dream match that is on the horizon. But Stephen A. Smith says the announcement of there's been news outlets that have announced that Shannon Sharpe has signed to ESPN. Stephen A. Smith has officially come out and said that the announcement is premature. He's still confident the move will still happen. Says that Shannon Sharpe, this is an article via Pro Football Talk NBC. Shannon Sharpe has yet to sign on the dotted line to be a member of First Take. It has not happened yet. Smith then said he's confident it will happen and it needs to happen, and he will exhaust all means available to himself to make it happen. So, with that being said, I want to swing it over to our guest Jacob here. Your thoughts on this whole thing and where you see this thing going?
It's going to be very, very different from Shannon for Shannon to have Stephen A. And I'll tell you why. When he had Skip, you are countering BS after BS after BS after BS after BS.
Right.
He wants BS so he can get words talking. There isn't anything that he says that's true, and you're countering that, and then then you get annoyed at that. Here's the thing: there's going to be legit debate with Stephen A. because Stephen A. to his credit looks to be right, and he'll apologize at being wrong. He'll apologize at being wrong, and he looks to be right. So the thing about it is you're going to have a debate based off of who thinks that they're right and the situation as it goes. Where before Shannon almost had it easy, even if it was annoying, because you already know Skip's wrong. You already know he's annoying you. He's wrong because he's trying to get work. You already know this. So then with Stephen A., you're now getting somebody that does his homework, who's going to be right on some of the time, and you need to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, and you know, you got to go back to a First Take when it was like Skipping and Steven there, right? And it was,
Yes.
okay, so it's kind of like, by the way, y'all tune in to Top Rope Talk on Mondays on Sideline Sports at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with the announce team, right? And how typically there's a face announcer and a heel announcer, a good guy announcer, a bad guy announcer. Jerry Lawler's played the heel one, so's Bobby Heenan, so forth and so on. Okay, I know you can't stand Lawler, but okay.
Lawler is. I cannot stand Lawler as an announcer. I love him as a wrestler. Cannot stand him as an announcer.
I don't necessarily agree with the assessment on Skip Bayless. I don't necessarily think he's always wrong. I think there's a lot of people have very strong opinions.
That's majority. That's majority. Maybe 3 times he aims for the.
Hold on.
Aims for the bites.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I don't necessarily think that it's correct to say that he's always wrong, because he actually has been correct on quite a few things, but it's just people, he lives for the theatrics. Is that a true statement? Yes. Everything he says is for the theatrics, but there are things that he knows about. When it comes to LeBron, pay him no attention. When it comes to Tom Brady, pay him no attention. But when it comes to talking about certain things that go within organizations based off his history and his past, he has been right. And you can go and watch his episodes and see the stuff proven. I think you can have opinions about how he is, but I don't think it's fair to say that he's always wrong. And it wasn't always easy, because even Shannon in some situations have had to sit there and say, you know what, Skip, you right about that. They had a bet between how many cases of Mountain Dew. How is it Shannon owes him so much if Skip is always wrong? He's not. So at the end of the day, he has. Well, it was just at the point the battle. The battle. Hold on. It's just a fact, though. They make bets. Skip wins. That means he's not exactly wrong. Is that not right? Exactly. So like now, I get what it is. This is all an ego battle, and I watched the actual segment of Stephen A. talking about this live. I loved it. I don't really like Stephen A., but I loved it, and I loved his little one up and everything, because he was sitting there talking about, shout out to ESPN First Take, #1 TV show for the 12 years running. You know this. That's the back and forth that they have. One thing I've learned about, especially in today's world, because sports media is similar to like reality TV, there's always going to be that love-hate or that hate type thing between two guys that are two polarizing figures. That's Stephen A. That's motherfreaking Skip Bayless. They come off as they hate each other, but I will bet my $1,000 or $2,000, however much ever, that they are actually cool and they've been playing this game.
Oh no, they are.
And I like this
game.
And so I love this game. And I definitely think that it is. I get what he's saying. He hasn't signed yet. Trust and believe. When he signs, Stephen A. going to be on the first one to be like, "Yep, we got it. It's going to be fun." Now, what I will say is, Stephen A. is going to kill Shannon when basketball season gets around, because that is one area where Shannon is not exactly the strongest in. He is good, but he's not great. He's good at talking about the issues that happen like off the court and how it relates, or maybe the intertension, the dimensions between like two teams. But that's Stephen A.'s forte. Trust and believe. I'm looking forward, if this is true, to seeing the back and forth, especially when it comes to talking about LeBron.
Now with Stephen A. Smith, and you actually got a point on that one, because before Stephen A. Smith, before the whole First Take, and even way back when it was First and 10, Stephen A. Smith's previous post was he was an NBA analyst. So basketball was what he did, just like with Max Kellerman. And I know a lot of people don't like him, but when it comes to boxing, he knew his stuff. When it came to boxing, no one could.
He's boxing.
Yeah, he's boxing. No one can touch him on boxing. You know. Now, with that being said, Skip Bayless, one thing that cannot absolutely be overlooked is the man has. You spend 40 years of your life doing something, one thing, anything. Is it fair to say you'll be a master at it? It could be fixing cars. You could spend it in the military. You spend 40 years doing some sort of something in your field. Of course, you're going to be a master at it. That's what Skip Bayless has. And he's written 3 books. So, yeah, he says controversial things. True. He can be a bit biased, but Skip knows what he's talking about up there on that panel.
Okay, I will say this, fair, because you would have 40 years. But this is what I'm saying. Why limit yourself to that stupidity? Maybe I'm mad because he limits himself to that stupidity of wanting to get bites.
Because to be very honest with you,
I can't. Huh?
To be very honest with you, Skip knows more football than he gets credit for, and Shannon also knows that. That's again, when you talk about
Skip was a big reporter for the Dallas Cowboys.
We talk about Stephen A. Smith and his basketball knowledge. I will definitely give Skip 100% credit on when he talks about what goes on between teams, especially in the old times, because he did that. He covered all that. He was there. He knew all that stuff. And I think that's what made them great. On football topics, yes. On basketball topics, it's really two guys that love the sport, but one didn't play the sport. The other one covered it, but it's like he has a bias to old school players. That's what it is. And it's really he wants people to hate him for LeBron. I mean, come on. You literally see him looking and trying to play the fiddle. That's just what he does. But the basketball football mindset between those two is good, because to be honest with you, Stephen A's football is like is good, but it's like sometimes it'd be looking like, bro, what's going on?
But that's the thing, though. Why does Skip have to perpetuate the stupid? You're playing troll. You're perpetuating stupid people. Why does he have to when he has all that knowledge? Why does he have to do that?
How is it any different from it? He has ego. All of them do. How is it any different?
But you're wrong to be stupid. That's my point. He's wrong on certain things, and he's trolling them to get stupid people riled up. You don't need to be wrong to be doing that.
Jacob, do we have to go through the archive of people who have said stupid stuff on sports media to get their name? Hello, Nick Wright.
The very reason why Sports Moron
exists. Nick Wright. Hello, Jason Whitlock. Okay, let's
listen. Don't get me started on him. There's two in sports journalism I don't like. Whitlock's one of them.
Well,
I can't stand that.
None of us are fans of Whitlock. None of us.
Whitlock is a fool. Okay, he is a freaking fool. That's all I got to say about that boy.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's all ego. It's all ego. Hell yeah! I mean, listen. I will say this: when Undisputed first debuted, that first year and 2 years, when he would have people like Michael Luck and they would talk about the organization's, breakdown of things. Like he broke down the Giants' whole 12-4 season as like a Ponzi scheme. It turned out to be true because they got throttled in the playoffs. But those times was back when Undisputed was great. I learned when I watched that show, I knew when Skip was talking, I'm just like, this man just will. He has the same move over and over when he's backed into a corner. That's when he'll turn around and say, have the courage of your convictions and whatever. But I have to give him credit. He definitely knows how to get people reeled into a conversation because they talk about him all the damn time. And his shoe game, Chris.
Well, it helps being best friends with Lil Wayne. Now, with that being said, with Skip and you allude to his football knowledge. Well, he also spent a lot of time as a beat reporter for the Dallas Cowboys. So that right there would be where his knowledge comes from. See, sometimes it's what you've done in the past that leads up to right now. Stephen A. Smith is an NBA analyst. Max Kellerman is a boxing analyst. Skip Bayless is a beat reporter for the Dallas Cowboys. So when you have debate shows like this, that's where their strengths are. Shannon Sharpe, that's why Undisputed was a perfect combination. Because here it is, you had a guy that covered sports for 40 years, and then another guy that played pro sports for 14 years. See, Shannon Sharpe's been in the locker rooms. He's been on the field. He gave you that inside look. Jacob, you going to say something, man?
Real quickly, the thing I get irritated with is something like you'll say a LeBron. Like I say this, JJ, you said the whole don't listen to him about LeBron. We already know he's doing the trolling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but there's a lot of race baiters out there and they all drive me nuts. But the biggest thing about it is the fact that it's like, I know what I do and I don't have anywhere near the audience. I'll admit that. I know what I do. I will have myself where I see the few years down the road. We'll call it Harden. We'll call it Fields. We'll call it all stuff. And I will not only beat the dead horse, I'll beat the skeleton.
At least you can't talk about Jacob deGrom for the next year and a half, but go ahead.
Yeah, of course that. But I've done that too. But the thing about it is there's a difference. I might say something about LeBron's flopping, but that's kind of self-evident. I don't say that he's not an all-time great. I never have said that. I've also said James Harden is James Harden's one of the all-time great ISOs we've ever seen. I've said that too.
Right.
It isn't where I'm at is the fact that where I get mad at is I'm with some of these and what he does. What Skip does, it says something so patently false to get people when you're smarter than that. Because you got to remember, I like writers. I like him as a writer. I've said that to you before. He was the beat writer on that thing. He's written 3 books, like you said.
Right.
I like that. You're smarter than that. I don't like being perpetuating with the stupid people. And he doesn't need to do that. And go ahead, JJ.
So in the world that we have is a majority of the people wanting the right beat writers, or the majority of the people wanting some drama. Let's be real. This is what sports media is. Facts sometimes, drama. And a lot of people like drama. And if you are on a nationally televised show and you are responsible to try to make revenue and bring people into your show to get 1 million people, you got to come up with some stuff. You got to do some stuff. You got to sit out there and be wild in some stuff. But the one thing that I will say about my man is that he's good at it. He's good at it. He lives for being just Twitter killed and bashed and whatever. And I'll be honest with you, I watch reality TV, Real Housewives. This is the same stuff that be creating this kind of similar stuff with this joint. But I get what you're saying in the sense of, he's smarter than that. But that doesn't, just because he maybe 50%, 60% of the time wants to perpetuate and be crazy, he still is delivering some things that are actual factual. Even sometimes when he's been over-exaggerated, he has kind of been factual what he was exaggerating. I've always looked at it like this. Honestly, if you talk about Brady, talk about LeBron, I ain't paying no attention. If you talk about anything else other than those two people, I'm all in. I'm all in. Because I know he's not going to be as dramatic. And even then, like, he does admit when he's wrong. You can't say that for everybody. I mean, he funny. He's funny. He is funny. He is funny.
Skip will admit
he's like,
he's
I don't
wrong.
know. What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, hey, but you said since he's gonna be like it's so funny.
No, Skip will absolutely admit when he's wrong. Just look at when the Cowboys lose. We got to move on to our next topic.
But that's all the time.
Our next topic, and as of late, Bengals running back Joe Mixon found not guilty in road rage incident. So, to those of y'all who don't know the backstory, he had been accused of pulling a gun on a woman after a road rage incident and saying he'd shoot her in the face. However, city prosecutors failed to present enough evidence to prove the charge. Therefore, he was found not guilty. Swinging over to Jacob, your thoughts about this? Man, it seems like anything and everything. You're in that microscope whenever you're a pro athlete,
I hate road rage so much. You have to understand someone like me. I was an Uber driver for 5.5 years. And between Uber and doing things like that, I probably have. I've been here 18 years in Atlanta. My brother's been here 25, and I've got more miles on the road than he does. I probably have 600,000 some odd miles, 700,000 miles on the road. There's nothing I despise more than road rage. It is exceptionally dangerous.
It is.
It's like, it is so dangerous. And it's like, I don't flip people off on the road. I don't do all that stuff. There's not playing this pretend tough guy or getting angry. I don't do that because it's especially in Atlanta, Georgia. That is so dangerous to do. So, I mean, I might get a little mad. I might honk, but it's over. And I make sure it's over. But here's the thing with we're dealing with here is we're dealing with the possibility, if he did this, mind you, we're going to deal with this, we might be having a CT issue when he passes away. It's because of concussions and everything like that. And that's why we have these helmets and all that. Remember, he's been around. What's he been around? 4 years?
So yeah, mixing about 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. That was a couple of those years we did not have those specialty helmets they have now. So there's no question there's going to be more concussions that he had whatsoever. So we're looking at something like that. And when there's road rage and stuff like that, then you're dealing with a guy like this. And there's a gun involved. So let's just say it did happen. You're talking to somebody who's on the road more than any of you. And I'm not doing this to like brag. I have been more than my brother. Like I said, my brother who is 7 years older, been here 7 years longer. I've been on the road more than him. And you have to know the rules of the thing with something like that. You get when you've been on the road as much as I have, you get instincts, you know better.
Yeah.
You get instincts that you did not have before, and it becomes dangerous because you can still get into a wreck, no matter how much instincts you get. So you just have, one of the biggest things about it is just keep your cool on that road. I'm not saying it to her, I'm not saying it to him, I'm just saying it to everyone.
I'm glad you said it because I've always said, watch how you conduct yourself on the road because you never know what that other person has in their car. And to anybody else, I would say this. and that is don't make emotions are temporary, okay? Don't make a decision emotion based that will have permanent consequences. You all know I worked at a prison, a max security prison for a year. I was in there in a facility full of inmates that were in there based on emotional based decisions. I remember 2 years ago, I went to an Astros game, left, went home and everything, got home, turned on the news. There was a father and son leaving from that same game. Road rage incident, guy shot into the car, hit the son in the head, killed him instantly. You know, of course they caught him and everything. He was brought to justice. But see, this is what I'm talking about. And you know, good on Joe Mixon. I mean, he's not guilty. He gets to play and everything. They didn't have enough evidence. Lord knows what actually happened. Okay, but as far as road rage goes, everyone just play it smart. Just play it safe. JJ, I know you're chomping at the bit, man. Go ahead.
I was in Houston, and Jay knows how I feel about drivers when it comes to Houston and places like this. I agree 1000%. People are freaking crazy, and there's no rationale to people nowadays. And so, being at like even here in Houston, if it's like in Texas or anywhere, like, bro, lawless states don't give a crap about anything. And he got away with it more than likely because there were no around. There was nothing getting away. I mean, not saying him, but I'm saying like people who have road rage that seem to get away with it. Ain't nobody around. Like it's just absolutely why it's best for you to just sit there. You know what? You got it. It's way more important for you right now. You do what you do. I want my life. I want to value my life. I value my limbs. I value my heart. I value the ability to not have to be dependent so much to survive, all because I wanted to get somewhere. 9 times out of 10, I'm already leaving early enough anyway, so I ain't got to really be tripping. But like people nowadays, and like I agree with you 1000% as well, Jay. It's like it's emotionally based decisions. Like goddamn,
Yeah.
it's so like calm down. You're like in a dangerous vehicle. You just it just doesn't add up. It's scary out there.
It doesn't, and with road rage, they you make these decisions and everything, and seemingly people don't wake up until they're in a courtroom. Again, who knows what happened out there that night? You know what I mean? We all weren't there. All we know is they didn't present enough evidence. You know what I mean? But those who really get into a confirmed incident out there where someone was hurt, and seemingly they don't seem to wake up until they're in that holding cell awaiting trial, or they're right there in court like, oh shoot, I effed up. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, as far as this goes, I mean, Mixon was found not guilty, and he will be playing this season. Got to go on to our next topic here, and that is the Los Angeles Chargers actually surprised Antonio Gates, and with the announcement, and he was emotional at the announcement that he will be inducted into the Team Hall of Fame. This man, and we've talked about him before. Madden just dropped, and we talked about how much of a beast he was on Madden. I mean, like in his 16-year career, 116 touchdowns, receptions, 21 multi-touchdown games. Uh, During this era, a top 5 tight end, always. If not 14 of those 16 years. So I want to swing it over to JJ and your thoughts on him being in the Team Ring of Fame. Do you feel it's deserved?
Oh, absolutely, it's deserved. I mean, the guy has records within San Diego's tenure and everything. I mean, the dude he came out of nowhere. It was unstoppable. I think it's great for him because he is arguably a top 5 tight end in a lot of people's accounts nowadays. People that have been born in like the millennials to now, they grew up during their years of watching football was his time frame, and he killed. Like I think it's good for him. I think it's just the beginning. I honestly think he will eventually get into the Hall of Fame. So I mean, it's only natural that you'll become part of your team's Hall of Fame. How many other tight ends would you think have the yardage and the records that he has? If you own a record, if you own multiple records, you got to get in, and I'm happy for him. Very happy for him.
Especially for a dude that was a basketball player by trade. you know. But I want to swing it over to Jacob Christner and get your thoughts on Antonio Gates to be inducted into the Chargers Team Hall of Fame.
Oh, a beast, absolutely deserved, without question. But think about this: how many more teams are ever going to be have the opportunity in the next few years to do this for somebody? To do this, because how long is anybody going to stay? We literally talk about in debates. There are debates at these places. How long? And we never would have said this in the past or all. Remember how surprising it was when Joe Montana went to Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? That was the surprise of the day. Now we talk about like it's like a brushing your teeth every day. About how long will Patrick Mahomes stay if Andy Reid? I've heard that before. Like if Andy Reid's gone, blah blah blah. Mind you, it could be. It sounds crazy to a certain extent, but we hear them on these things and get them as debates because it's normal. You know what I'm saying? It's normal, but it's like you get to that thing with people that go with these athletes right now. They all don't stay at all. We're talking about the St. Louis Cardinals. They're keeping people for 20 years. They'll get their rings of fame, but we're not going to get this much anymore. So let's enjoy Antonio Gates. He was awesome.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talking about a dude who was an absolute monster, and even playing with him on Madden. I mean, like how many 5, 6, 7 touchdown games can you have with that man on the PlayStation or the Xbox? He did heavy amounts of damage out there. He was one of the fun players. Everyone talks about like Vic. And like everyone talk about playing with Vic. Of course, Vic is the universal favorite on Madden and whatnot. But I mean, a jump ball to Gates like every other play. Like, come on, man.
When you used to play PlayStation, if you just slightly tapped the button, it's going to go and throw it the furthest possible, and that's when he would just make his money. I call BS on the Michael Vick thing, but it is what it is. That is literally what people have to say. But yeah, Antonio Gates was fun. He was really fun to play with on Madden. He was like the fastest tight end. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Michael Vick was good if you knew the plays. And there was guys that knew 4 plays of Madden.
But all you had to do was
And Michael Vick go around the corner touchdown. That's what they knew.
All you had to do was do man and cut and spy your linebacker. If you played with the Bears, you could contain them all the time. Like, it wasn't that crazy.
Right.
Like, people sat there. I was like, when they're like, "Oh, Vic is this and this," I was like, Vic was so easy to stop. Like, it was not that hard for me. And I played against so many people who tried to use him, and it just did not work. Like, it did not work. Like, you're just not.
The Bears would use a spy. They use a spy. It's just like in real life.
People kept not running straight up and down. They kept trying to juke and everything. And I'm like, yeah, just keep juking and losing yards. Keep doing it. I'm all for it. Do what you got to do.
Like, I remember $100 bet. I won with. I'm talking about the legit Michael Vick when he was in Philadelphia. I won a $100 bet when the Bears won on the road because I said, simply put, Vick can't beat the Bears. Bears won. And I got that $100.
I agree with you 1,000%, Jay. And I remember, I will say that game, I was like, this is going to be the game to stop him. And in that game, I will never forget this play. Jay Cutler threw, I think, a 55-yard touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey, and it looked like he didn't even move. Like, he just said, boop, and it went perfect. It was like, oh my, that is a beautiful throw. And I was like, dang, Jay, you didn't even break a sweat. He just said, boop, boop, and it just flew. And I was like, yeah, okay, that nigga got an arm.
No, Jay Cutler. My frustration is with Jay Cutler because he was that good. It's the same.
He was
frustration
so talented. He was so talented.
He was. But it's like that was my frustration with him. The same with James. It's the same frustration as with James Harden. When you're that good, you don't want to work.
Literally, and I firmly believe, and I said this on the other day, and I know we got onto a little tangent. If he did not get hurt, Green Bay wouldn't have had a Super Bowl. I stand on that because I had Chicago winning that game.
Well, he wasn't playing very well that game at all.
He wasn't. You guys was taking it to him, and Jay actually was ahead before he went down. Like, I had the Bears winning that series because I thought the Bears was a really good Bears team. That was a really gritty, tough Bears team.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Jay Cutler. The thing about Jay Cutler was I always got mad at him. I always have been mad at him for that game because when he talked about how he had a sprained ACL or that he had whatever he was that kept him out of the game, didn't even look like he was trying. Remember, on the final part of the thing, he never even needed it. He had a guy right under him, one of the players during the tackle. He didn't even use the guy to support. If you're hurt, you usually use the guy to support yourself to get up.
Right.
He didn't even use anything to get anybody up, so it didn't look like. So I don't believe totally that he had that kind of injury. I just think he didn't. I just think he was having a bad game and didn't want it.
The crazy part about that very game is backup Caleb Haney came in there and almost beat the Packers.
That was his only good game of life.
That was the game of his life, straight up.
Because he went 0-5 after that and looked horrible.
But we have to think, the Bears made their money off being gritty. They made a Super Bowl off of a gritty team, a gritty, crazy team.
Yeah,
you beat the Arizona.
But that's where the Bears have to. That's where the Bears, and that's why you have a Justin Fields now. Okay, here's the thing. That's why you had a Justin Fields then, a Mitch Trubisky then, and Mitch Trubisky then, and all that stuff. Both guys could run the ball. Both guys could everything. And Justin Fields even better than that. Don't get that wrong. I'm saying this. That's why they got that when they're trying, because they're trying to get away from grit. They've got to remember the 85 Bears about to lose their 9th person to death. That'll be Steve McMichael. They've lost by range, by ratio. They've lost more by ratio in time than the 72 Dolphins. By ratio, they've lost. And guess what? Mike Ditka is getting there. You get my point on the thing? When the 72 Dolphins by ratio are beating the Bears like that and getting all the thing, this is what I'm saying. The Bears fans and the Bears everything have to get away from the grit and the monsters of the midway and get into the future. It's why you have the dome coming up.
Well, we do have to get on to our next topic here, and that is Michael Oher filed a petition earlier this week to end a 20-year conservatorship with the Tuohy family amid the blindside news. So just earlier this week, he filed a legal petition against Leanne and Sean can't pronounce that name. Tuohy, yeah, claiming that they never actually adopted them and placed them under a long-term conservatorship. Sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, left the I just want to actually, hold on, shout out to Bacon Grizz. This is reminding, I want to scroll up to an earlier comment because this is my non-sports moron and his. And he said, mine are the people calling for Sandra Bullock to give back her Oscar award for her role on The Blind Side. Sandra Bullock showed up and did her listen. What did she have to do with this? What did she have to do? She showed up and she did her job as an actress. She had nothing to do with the NFL. She had nothing to do with that family directly coming up. She had nothing to do. She showed up. She played a role. She got paid. She got her Oscar. She shouldn't give Nathan back. Nathan. All right? So the people need to kill that right now. With that being said, I'm going to swing it over to our guest, Jacob, and your thoughts about this entire thing.
For one thing, there's been reports from the books, from everything like that it was already known as a conservatorship in the first place. So this shouldn't have been a shock. It's just people have people have the ADD level brain of a fish. They don't pay attention until there's something that has to be, and that's just the way that things go. It's number one. Number two, accounting, just simple accounting, and this is the Tuohy family, very, very wealthy family. You know they've got the highest bit of accountants. Right. Any level of accounting is going to prove that right or wrong right away, that if they got anybody paid. You got to remember, the Michael Oher's side said that there was $0. Tuohy's side said that they all got $250,000. Accounting's going to say something like that. Number three, I have to ask this question.
Princess, what's
I
up?
have to ask this question. Huh?
Comment. Princess Gamer. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I have to ask this question. With the conservatorship and everything, where did and I'm just asking this, did his NFL money go away? What's going on with all of this? Did they have a falling out? Because truthfully, and in all of this is absolutely okay. They had a falling out and he got angry because he got angry and then he's mad at conservatorship and he wants it and they're willing to release it. But all of a sudden, you want to know what this is going at? This is going at, oh my God, let's go after the rich white people.
Mhm.
Let's go after them. On media-wise, I mean, social media and everything, because it's popular too. It's popular to do it. And the thing is, the minute we see the accounting, those people that have ever attacked online are going to bury themselves. They're going to bury themselves under if they're wrong. And if it's right, they're going to be, ha ha, whatever. But it is what's popular at the moment. So
Yeah.
I really do believe by itself that Oher just got himself angry. They had a falling out, and they're saying, and plus there's things to promote. But here's the thing with this. This shows that there's no education. We don't have education for everybody with money. You want to know why I say that? Is because a Sean Toohey and a Leanne Toohey are just going to have the ability to show with the best accounts they have right then and there who's right or wrong. Michael Oher, with however many years in the league, does not have that same education. A lot of people don't have that same education. We need to educate everyone on how things work with life, money, everything. And that's where I'm going with something like this, because I already believe a lot of this is BS, and I'm really mad at what they do with Sandra Bullock, like you are. But a lot of this by itself could be stopped with the idea if we could, it's like if you have an education, first thing you're going to say to yourself is, they're going to have records. I better watch it. But we don't educate that way with a lot of people. And that's why I say I want to start seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, JJ, your thoughts on this entire thing?
So I'm gonna be honest. I can echo what Jacob is. I think at the end of the day, I'm kind of hurt by this because I think this is over finances, and I think this is over finances on his side. Now I want to say something to James' comment. Yeah, he has never really liked the movie, but that argument is how they portrayed him in the movie. He wasn't illiterate up until 8th grade. He actually could read and write by that time, but the movie did that. This is arguing a different thing as sitting there saying that they basically ripped him off. And I'm going to have to touch base with one of my friends that's a lawyer, because I want to ask, and I have to, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this. If somebody is still your conservator, any money you make, they have the ability to touch and manage. So what happened to the NFL money? Where did that go? Was that the problem? Like everything is supposed to be under their control because they are deemed by the courts to be able to take care of you. But I've worked at a law firm that deals with this. When you do become able and capable, you do break off from the conservatorship. But if you don't, they have access to manage everything. So
everything's legal. Yep.
Why now? Why now?
I can see that.
I as far as Sandra Bullock, just leave my girl alone. Like seriously, like it just doesn't make no sense. Like she didn't know none of this. Like she just performed a role. And I love some Sandra Bullock. That's my girl. You better leave her alone. Like,
hey, listen. When she was in Speed, I got a thing for her when she was in Speed.
Yes.
the first Speed, yeah, that's when I fell in love with old Sandra.
Remember when she came out of Miss Congeniality, where she looked all a little stuffy, then she got the makeup on the first time, and everybody looked. I was like, "Damn, Sandra. Okay, I see what you did." I was like, "Okay, Sandra."
Oh, yeah. Well,
people idiots.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on to our final topic, and that is our non-sports topic, which has been a mainstay here on The Gauntlet. Shout out to Dom DeRubis. It was originally his idea. And that is that if you were given 12 months to train, would you climb Mount Everest for $1 million? Jacob, what about you?
Yeah. And knowing my personality, you got to realize I did 1 week of training and did 2 MMA fights and lost both of them just because I wanted to see what it was like after I got my black belt and stuff like that. I would go into the World Series of Poker just because I wanted to. I might try it even if I didn't have the training just because my personality just wants to try. But to answer your question, yep, absolutely.
Okay, gotcha. And shout out to Princess Gamer. She said Sandra was annoying in speed. Do a drinking challenge. Take a shot for every time she says, "Can I will be laid out." I will be laid out.
Listen, it's okay. That movie Speed, the original one, was epic. Okay, that was epic.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well,
But
proud of my son. Niggas are new to the Mount Everest. Yeah. What about you, JJ? 12 months to train. Would you climb Mount Everest for $1 million?
absolutely, I want to do it on my own, even for free. So yes, I would do that for $12 million. That's one of my bucket lists. Yeah, like no problem, because I want. I'm adventurous like that on that front. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
With you?
oh man, this I'm on the fence with this one because every now and again I'll look up like Mount Everest is one of what's known as the 8,000ers. The 8,000ers are the tallest mountains on Earth. They typically are in the Nepal, China kind of region. Anyone who the big geography head, they know what I'm talking about. These are ones 8,000ers are ones that are these are mountains that are 8,000 feet above sea level at a minimum. Mount Everest. And there's a reason why climbers use frozen to death dead bodies as landmarks on that mountain. Also, you go up there and you have oxygen. Your oxygen is limited. You hit something called a death zone where your oxygen is extremely limited. And I read not too long ago a story of a guy, and I think it took him about maybe a week to reach the summit. They reached the summit and came back down 6 months later. He was still having breathing difficulties. It severely affected his breathing and everything. So climbing Mount Everest, yes, it definitely is an adventure, but at the same time, it can have negative, long-lasting effects. You kind of got to ask yourself, is it worth it? If you're that outdoorsy guy, if you're that mountain kind of guy, you're out there climbing mountains and running up hills and everything, it might be up your alley. You might say, hey, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm going to go up there and do it. Or I might not even want to do it for $1 million. I might want to do it for free, just to say I did it. But at the same time, you got to know what you're getting into because those mountains are extremely dangerous to climb. Even if you were born and raised in North Dakota, I don't know if you're ready for that type of cold. Okay. But I don't know. I guess ask me tomorrow morning. I might say, yeah, I'd do it. I mean, hey, $1 million, right? But hey, I'd like to thank everybody for his battery went out. He said in the chat that his battery was going out. But want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Gauntlet. Shout out Philly Jim. He's coming back next week. Shout out Bacon Grizzler. Princess Gamer. Shout out Craig Davis, Marshall Hill, my Unprovincial Kings fam. And, of course, Dom DeRubis. I know he out there having some drinks somewhere. We will be back with you live next Friday for another episode of the Gauntlet. That boy Tariq, take us out of here.